Hey guys, Shy here with a quick guide on how to kill the Spectral Knight in the new Dark and Darker wipe. I just want to make a really quick note before we start this video and say that this is extremely early and I don't think there's any guides out yet. So as time progresses, there will probably be easier strats, but these are what worked for me and they should work for you. Let's start with where to find the Spectral Knight. The Spectral Knight can be found on the Ruins map within the Barbican module, and you can get to his arena by using either the stairs on the east or the west side of the room, similar to something like the Cave Troll. Now, you might be wondering why you would want to fight the Spectral Knight, and that is for a few reasons. Probably the most important one would be Spectral Fabric, which is a 10% drop chance from the Spectral Knight himself, and this is used in the Spectral Gold Coin Bag crafting recipe, which we believe will be able to hold 25,000 gold coins, which is 1/4 of a chest. So that'll probably be pretty valuable. The recipe isn't out yet, and they're already 4.5k, so probably best to try to farm them now and learn the boss before the recipe drops and everyone's trying to farm it. And the boss, similar to the Goblin Caves bosses, is guarding a gold coin pile, a marvelous chest, and the shared loot room once the Banshee comes out, which is the other Ruins boss. And now onto the actual guide. When a player walks into the Spectral Knight's aggro range for the first time in a match, he'll play sort of like a awakening animation, as you can see here. And this is important to note because you can actually get free damage on the boss while this animation plays. As Rogue, you can get about like 9 stabs base kit with a Rondel, so it's pretty important to know. Now, if you're a Rogue, you might be thinking that you want to open this fight with ambush, like you would maybe something like a Cave Troll, but you actually don't want to do this because if you do, and you aggro the boss, you're actually going to cancel his awakening animation, which means you're not going to get all that free damage, which is quite unfortunate. Also, another thing that you should probably make note of is that you should wear head protection if you're practicing this, because you're going to get headshot randomly a lot during this fight, and I'm living all these with 1 HP, so wear head protection or you're going to randomly get headshot and fucking die. Oh yeah, do that. First move we'll be going over is the stationary thrust, and this move can be easily dodged by strafing either left or right. I prefer right because a reoccurring theme you'll notice with this boss is that pretty much all of his attacks can be dodged by strafing right in combination with either crouching or jumping, so keep this in mind. The next move we're going to be talking about is the overhead slam, which is dodged the same way as the last attack, which is by strafing left or right. You can just pretty much hit him the entire time he's using this attack. Pretty easy to dodge. And it has a really long recovery window, so you can really get a big punish on this, or if you're parrying, you can go for your double hit parry every time. And he also has a long range version, which he will use if you're too far away from him, but this is also just dodged the same way. Pretty easy. The next move we're going to be going over is probably the hardest one, which is going to be the diagonal slashes and their follow-ups. How this move works is he can either start high and slash like this, which means you're going to have to move right and jump, or he can start low and go high, which means you're going to have to move right. You can also crouch for safety, but I found that you can just move right and still keep uptime on the boss without having to crouch and look down, so keep this in mind. Another thing to note is that he can follow up these diagonal slashes with either a head level slash, which you will have to crouch and look down for, or a low slash, which you will have to jump crouch. He can also follow it up with another diagonal slash, which can also combo into either of those two. This is definitely the hardest mechanic in the fight, I'd say. It's like the only one where you actually have to react and do something different, unlike something like Cave Troll where you can just rotate left and just do the exact same thing, only having to think about how hard you're going to punish each attack rather than how you're going to dodge each attack. But my advice would definitely be to just strafe right, which gives you more time to react since his sword starts on your left and moves relatively slow, even if his animations are quite subtle in what he's doing. And that's about it. Also, the initial diagonal slash has quite low reach, so if you're a rogue or maybe some other fast class, you can actually just walk out of range of the first diagonal slash. Next attack is extremely simple. It's his leap. You're just going to want to walk towards where he started the leap from, and you can get a pretty nice punish off of it. Just make sure you don't walk backwards or anything like that, or else he's going to land on top of you and probably kill you. The next attack we're going to be talking about is the shoulder bash, which by itself isn't very dangerous, doesn't do very much damage, and is relatively short range. I'm pretty sure even if you are point blank, you can strafe it to the right. But the dangerous part is that it has very little recovery time, so he can act very quickly afterwards, and it will usually be followed by pretty long combos where if you mess up more than one dodge or two dodges, you're probably just going to die, so be careful of this. Something important to note about these next two attacks are that the Spectral Knight will only use them while far away from you, and periodically throughout the fight, he'll teleport away from you using this sort of reassemble animation where he builds himself back together far away from you, and those two attacks are going to be this thrust, which is very similar to the one he uses while stationary, and this can be dodged either by just moving left or right, preferably right, and it's so easy to dodge that you can actually dodge this while healing, so if he's ever far away you can just heal. But I believe this actually serves as sort of like a misdirection for his other ranged attack, which is this relatively fast head level swipe, which will headshot you most of the time if you're not ready, so make sure you don't get too comfortable dodging the thrust and look out for that swipe. Finally, we're going to be going over these last two attacks at the same time since they serve sort of the same purpose, which is being sort of a get off me tool for the boss. Similar to the stomp that the cave troll does. The first one is going to be this one he uses much more often, which is going to be him thrusting his sword into the ground, sort of making an instant kill aura like right next to him immediately. So you're gonna have to walk away for this. He's gonna say a voice line. And then it's also gonna leave a puddle in the ground, on the ground if you see these, which are gonna slow and damage players. They don't do a lot of damage, but if you get caught in one, it can be very hard to dodge, so just stay away from them and you'll be fine. His next attack is gonna be sort of a charge slash that he's going to do at 2/3 and 1/3 HP, which you'll see here. He'll say a voice line, and then he'll start charging this attack. If you don't have a buckler or any shield or a longsword to parry this, you're going to want to get away from him. And probably just take this time to heal or get free damage if you're full health. I use this time to reapply poison usually. And yeah, that's about all you have to know for this boss. Pretty easy. That'll be all for this guide. Thank you so much for watching until the end. And if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments down below, and I'll do my very best to answer them. Best of luck bossing!